Hey, Bleed Big Blue. Tim from the podcast. Just wanted to come talk to you guys. I know it's the off season and we're all on pins and needles, and of course we're about to watch the worst Super Bowl ever for Giants fans, because who honestly wants the Patriots to win? And God knows we hate the Eagles, and why would we want them to win either? But that being said, I saw some Twitter stuff going on where Wayne Gulman was arguing with people that he is workhorse, or he can be a number one running back. And first of all, I hope, Wayne Gulman, you're working in the off season, so you prove all of us that you can be a number one running back. Granted, I think you're definitely going to have some competition, coming in to next season. But that being said, it got me reminiscing about the old days, guys. I've been watching the Giants really, since the early 80s, all through the Parcells era to now. And like I said, he got me reminiscing about the way Giants used to be, grounding and pounding, when we had actually a running game. And you know what? We had a little, I would say argument, discussion, whatever you would want to call it, on our little chats, in the behind the scenes of the podcast. And I wanted to give my top 5 Giants running back all time since probably 80 to now. Because honestly, I didn't see Frank Gifford and all those guys play. They might have been awesome, but you know what? I'm not that old. But as far as my top 5 running backs that I've seen in my lifetime, I'm going to go from 5 to 1. Number 5 on my list, I got to go with Joe Morris. I mean, if you got our 86 Super Bowl, Joe Morris was a big part of that. I mean, he was between 85 and 86. He had 21 touchdowns in 85 and had 14 touchdowns in 86. The guy was a workhorse. He was awesome. Former Syracuse Orangeman. So, he's going New York the whole way. So that was my number 5. Joe Morris was awesome. If some of you youngsters out there, the millennials, go look him up. Go see the highlights. He was a good little back. Number 4 on my list is one of my favorite Giants, Brandon Jacobs. This guy was a monster. For some of you that don't remember, was he 6'4", 260, and could run like a gazelle, and just ran with power. He reminded me of the old days of the big bruising running backs that used to be all over the NFL, and they're not that anymore. But this guy had 60 touchdowns for us in his career. Amazing. And honestly, guys, he could have had a way better stats than he ended up with, because he's always sharing the ball. Whether he was in the backfield with who was it, Derek Ward, Ahmad Bradshaw, sharing with Tiki Barber. I mean, Brandon Jacobs was always sharing the ball. So he was barely ever the feature back, but he was awesome. And he could have been, if he was the feature back in his prime, God knows what the stats is he would have put up. But on the goal line, it was a guarantee. If Brandon Jacobs got the ball, 2 to 3 yards out, that was going to be in that zone. So he was my number 4. Number 3, I'm going with Ahmad Bradshaw, one of Brandon Jacobs' teammates. Another guy that had to share the ball. But Ahmad Bradshaw was all over the place. He was a complete back. Catch the ball. Do whatever you needed him to do. He was great at blocking, great at running, great at catching. he had like 4,000 plus yards in the 4 or 5 seasons he was with us, and he was in a running back by committee team. He could have put up way better stats. And you know what, guys? It's just an underdog story. He was awesome. 7th round pick. He tore it up. And that was my number 3. Like I said, I'm going on talent, not necessarily completely on stats. But he put up good stats. They would have been way better if he didn't have to share a ball. And who can't blame, anybody that knows Ahmad Bradshaw's history. He saved us in the Buffalo Bills game. They got us to the playoffs, which allowed us to win that Super Bowl, first one with Eli. Number 2 on my list is literally my favorite Giant ever. I just feel bad for him because the era he played in, he never really got to be playing with a lot of good players. Not when he was the feature back. Rodney Hampton. Rodney Hampton did win a Super Bowl with us in 1990, but he was the backup running back, if I remember correctly. But all the years after that, and he had to deal with the Kent Graham years, the Dave Brown years, pretty much when he was the whole offense. This guy had 6,800 yards rushing for us. He was another ground and pound player, big back, but could do anything. And honestly, I think he was one of the more underrated backs in his time. Again, millennials, go look up Rodney Hampton. Go appreciate, the Giants in the past. And I would love another Rodney Hampton to come to us, in this draft. One of the guys I'm comparing him to is Nick Chubb. Could be the next Rodney Hampton, but that's hearsay. That's just me doing a little comparison. You can argue with me in the comments about that. Number 1 on my Giants list. I think it's really no surprise. Yes, he was a jerk, but Tiki Barber is our all-time leading running back. He was amazing. If he wasn't a fumbler in the beginning of his career, he probably would have had even more yards. He had over 10,000 yards rushing for us. I didn't even look up the receiving. He was an all-around back, could do anything. I just wish he, could shut his mouth a little bit more when he played with us. And even when he's not playing with us now. But, Tiki's easily the best running back that ever played for the Giants that I saw. I would love, one of these newcomers in the draft, to prove otherwise. But again, to go through my list one more time, 5 through 1. That was Joe Morris at number 5. Brandon Jacobs at number 4. Ahmad Bradshaw, number 3. Number 2, Rodney Hampton. Number 1, Tiki Barber. And that's my list. That's my top 5 Giants running backs that I saw in my viewing time. Now, if you want to argue with me, hey, that's fine. Leave it in the comments. I love to see what your guys' list is. And let's appreciate the running game, because I think we're going to get back to it this coming season. I still bleed Big Blue, guys. Always.
Now for a little outro. Thank you all for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell for notifications. If you need any other info, there are always links in the description down below. I will talk to everyone tomorrow, and peace out.